I got so much love from my father. I think he gave so much love to our country and our people.
I entered a new world when I went to Harvard University as a 16-year-old undergraduate.
My father preferred to stay in Rawalpindi district jail and face the gallows and give his life. I preferred to stay in Sakhar jail without visitors, without lawyers, when the PCO was passed. महाजन का निशान, पंजाबी का निशान, बलोच का निशान, कश्मीरी का निशान, पख्तून का निशान.
Once again proposing compromise.
अवाम का फैसला है कि मुझे पाकिस्तान वापस जाना है.
I couldn't come immediately after the bomb blast because we had to tend to the wounded.
आपका मुल्क, मेरा मुल्क खतरे में है. आपको और मुझे इस मुल्क को बचाना पड़ेगा. ये धरती आपको पुकार रही है, मुझे पुकार रही है.
The philosophy of Shaheed Mohtama Benazir Bhutto, in which we believe, which says democracy is the best revenge.
भुट्टो जिंदा है, आज भी भुट्टो जिंदा है, कल भी भुट्टो जिंदा था.
Benazir Bhutto was born on 21st June 1953 in Karachi, Pakistan, to a prominent political family. At age 16 years, she left her homeland to study at Harvard's Radcliffe College. After completing her undergraduate degree at Radcliffe, she studied at England's Oxford University.
I entered a new world when I went to Harvard University as a 16-year-old undergraduate. I came from a closed society and a dictatorship, and I went to America where men and women would walk around in the most casual ways. They were not scared of their teachers. In our country, we were all in awe of authority, and they were sitting there criticizing their president, criticizing their policies, criticizing the Vietnam War.
Benazir Bhutto returned home in 1972 and visited India with her father and then President Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. June 28, 1972, Pakistani President Zulfikar Ali Bhutto shakes hands with Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in Shimla. The summer capital of India, while his daughter Benazir Bhutto and Indian Foreign Minister Savran Singh look on. Benazir Bhutto visited India to meet Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and negotiated a formal peace agreement and the release of 93,000 Pakistani prisoners of war. The leaders signed a Shimla agreement which committed both nations to establish a line of control in Kashmir and obligated them to resolve disputes through bilateral talks. Her father, the PPP leader Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, was elected Prime Minister on a socialist platform in 1973. She returned to Pakistan in 1977.
मिस्टर भुट्टो की हुकूमत खत्म हो चुकी है. सारे मुल्क में मार्शल लॉ नाफिज कर दिया गया है.
But days after her arrival, the military seized power and her father was imprisoned. In 1979, he was hanged by the military government of General Ziaul Haq. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto herself was also arrested many times over the following years and was detained for 3 years before being permitted to leave the country in 1984. She settled in London and along with her two brothers, she founded an underground organization to resist the military dictatorship. There was more family tragedy. On July 18, 1985, the 26-year-old Benazir Bhutto brother Shanwaz Bhutto was found dead in Nice, France. He died under mysterious circumstances, and Bhutto family firmly believed he was poisoned, but no one was brought to trial for murder.
And he was lying on the car. And was outstretched. And he just looked like a sleeping animal.
रो रही थी, मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रही थी क्यों रो रही हैं इतने। फिर उन्होंने कहा कि इस तरह मेरे भाई को किसी ने पॉइजन दे दिया।
In December 1985, martial law was lifted in Pakistan and Benazir Bhutto decided to return home. She arrived at Lahore airport in April 1986, where she was greeted by a large crowd. An estimated 2 million people came to see her speak at Iqbal Park, where she realized against Zia's regime.
देखिए बीवी का जो 1986 10 अप्रैल का जो रिसेप्शन था लाहौर के अंदर मैं नहीं समझता कि वैसा रिसेप्शन पाकिस्तान की तारीख ने कभी देखा होगा।
ये चाहती हूँ कि ये मशाल जो अभी आपके हाथों में मुंतकिल हुआ है, ये मशाल जो अभी नौजवानों के हाथों में।
And she publicly called for the resignation of Ziaul Haq, whose government had executed her father.
And I know he's an innocent man. He's a great leader. He's going to go down in history.
Benazir Bhutto and her mother Nusrat Bhutto took control of the PP and led the country's movement for the restoration of democracy. On February 17, 1987, a huge marriage ceremony was organized in Karachi that bound the two influential families of the country into a relationship. Benazir Bhutto had married Asaf Ali Zardari, son of Hakam Ali Zardari, a businessman and landowner. It was an arranged marriage. The lavish sunset ceremony in Karachi was followed by immense night celebration that included over 1 lakh people.
आप मत सोचिए कि अभी बेनजीर की शादी हो गई है, आपकी बहन आपको छोड़ेगी। आपकी बहन आपको कभी भी छोड़ नहीं सकती है, आप ही के साथ रहेगी।
In August 1988, Ziaul Haq dictatorship ended when he was killed in a plane crash, leaving a power vacuum at the center of Pakistani politics. When free elections were finally held in 1988, Benazir Bhutto PP won the single largest block of seats in the National Assembly, and she herself became a Prime Minister of Pakistan. Benazir Bhutto's struggles since 90 years finally brought her to success. On December 1988, Benazir Bhutto became the country's first female prime minister, and at 35 years she was one of the youngest chief executive in the world and the first woman to serve as prime minister in Islamic country. Benazir Bhutto wanted to go further but started to make false accusations of corruption against her.
खैबर से लेके कराची तक, कोयटा से लेके हम खैबर तक, पेशावर तक गए हैं। मेरे भाइयों, पूरी कौम ने बेनजीर के खिलाफ फैसला दे दिया है।
Only 2 years into her first term in August 1999, the President of Pakistan, Ghulam Ishaq Khan, dismissed her government of charge of corruption and other malfeasance and called for new elections. Benazir Bhutto PP suffered a defeat in the national elections of October 1999 and thereafter she led the parliamentary opposition and against her successor of Nawaz Sharif. It was a strange war. Bhutto's daughter was fighting with him even after Ziaul Haq left because she was the right-hand man of Ziaul Haq.
ये लोग शहीद जियाउल हक का मुकाबला करेंगे। ये लोग, ये पाकिस्तान के गद्दार।
Even this government could not complete it, and Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was also dismissed on corruption charges. Benazir Bhutto led the PP to victory in the 1993 elections. And he did not sink alone. After some time, the president also had to leave the post. Benazir Bhutto returned to power in 1993 and she was re-elected Prime Minister of Pakistan. The starting of 1993 conspiracies continued in the second government of Benazir Bhutto. Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto followed in her father's footsteps. She was a brave leader.
आंचल का निशान, पंजाबी का निशान, बलोच का निशान, कश्मीरी का निशान, पख्तून का निशान.
The basis of their political movement is not revenge but the system for the existence of which his father gave the constitution of this country.
इसलिए मैं अपना आइन देता हूँ। My country harkens for me. Why should I waste my time here in the Security Council? You can take your Security Council. Here you are. I'm going.
Even though he had two sons, he made his daughter his successor.
बुनियादी तौर पे जो वो कन्विक्शन थी और वो जो वादा था, मैं समझता हूँ जो आप माय डियरेस्ट डॉटर भुट्टो साहब ने जो ख़त लिखा कि मैं अपनी आवाम का जो बाजू है वो तुम्हें सौंप के जा रहा हूँ, तो वो जो एक उन्होंने वादा किया था अपने वालिद साहब के साथ जेल की काल कोठरी की सलाखों के पीछे, उसको कभी नहीं भूली और उन्होंने हमेशा अपनी कन्विक्शन के तहत इस मुल्क की आवाम के लिए जंग लड़ी।
Benazir Bhutto proved by her actions that her decision was not wrong. Her brother Mir Murtaza Bhutto, who had been estranged from Benazir Bhutto since their father's death,
सरदारी जो है वो आज 50 अरब रुपए का मालिक बन गया, 50 अरब रुपए का।
returned from abroad and leveled charges of corruption at Benazir Bhutto's husband Asif Ali Zardari.
I've never even seen Surrey, leave alone occupy it. And if I have, then let them prove it. It's not impossible to prove. Let them prove it.
The public was with Bhutto's daughter and the politics of accusations would die.
Because the judge presiding over it has worked very closely with Mr. Nawaz Sharif as his law secretary.
Her brother Mir Murtaza Bhutto was died.
हम लोग भागे हॉस्पिटल जाए और हॉस्पिटल जब गाड़ी रुकी तो पूरा यानी टोटल सन्नाटा था, यानी सिक्योरिटी, हर तरफ सिक्योरिटी। और वो नंगे पैर वो भागती ऊपर गई और जैसे ही ऑपरेशन थिएटर के पास हम पहुंचे.
Then this is the third Bhutto was martyred. He was the only brother of Benazir Bhutto who was also killed, and he was overcome with grief.
मीर मुर्तजा भुट्टो इस दुनिया से रुखसत तो होगा, लेकिन वो हमारे दिलों में जिंदा है और हमेशा जिंदा रहेगा. इसलिए शहीद कभी नहीं मरते हैं.
Finally, the sister was being declared as the murderer of the brother, and the propaganda was getting strong. These accusations ended the government Benazir Bhutto.
To get rid of Benazir Bhutto's administration was a public demand. It had become a public demand.
But the power that was over the hearts remained.
The bullet that was meant to kill my brother physically was meant to eliminate me politically. I think it was a conspiracy against the Bhutto family.
It was the most difficult period for Benazir Bhutto, and her husband was behind bars, the jail, and she was sometimes seen in the waiting room of the jail, and sometimes meeting room in the jail, and sometime in court. First, she was fighting her father as a daughter, and now she was fighting her husband as a wife. And once again, she was forced to leave her homeland for 9 years. She and her children lived in exile in London, where she continued to advocate the restoration of democracy in Pakistan.
अल्लाह ने उनको मौका दिया जो 9 साल एग्जाइल में उन्होंने गुजारे कि अपने बच्चों की उन्होंने कुछ तरबियत की है.
आसिफी, you going to be a good girl?
Yep. पाकिस्तान में जो सियासी अमल चल रहा है ना, जो पाकिस्तान आज है, ये बीबी शहीद के विजन, ये चार्टर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी की है.
Asif Ali Zardari was later released after surviving 11 years from prison in 2004. After 8 years in exile in Dubai and London, Benazir Bhutto returned to Karachi on 18 October 2007 to prepare for the 2008 national elections.
ये अवाम का फैसला है कि मुझे पाकिस्तान वापस जाना है. Please make people sit down. Please make people sit down. Please sit down.
We are going to have a fight with all those terrorism.
And she came off the plane about 45 minutes after the plane was scheduled to land because of all the chaos, and she cried, held her hand up to the sky as if in prayer, and was very thankful to be home.
I feel very, very emotional coming back to my country. I dreamt of this day for so many months and years. I counted the hours, I counted the minutes and the seconds just to see this land, to see the grass, to see the sky. I feel so emotionally overwhelmed.
An estimated 250,000 PP supporter was passing through Kharsaz Road and lined the street dancing on bus stop, waving banners and surging forward for a glimpse of their leaders.
वो जो खदशे जाहिर किए जा रहे थे, वो जो खतरे कहे जा रहे थे कि मोहतरमा आप पाकिस्तान जाएंगी, आपकी ज़ात को खतरा होगा, कारकुनों को में भी, मीडिया में भी सब बातें आ रही थी. उसके बाद भी कारकुन उनके गिर्द उसी तरह रहे. वो उनके गिर्द एक शील्ड की तरह.
And a few moments later, an attempt was made to kill Bhutto once again. October 18, 2007 will be remembered as one of the bloodiest days in Pakistan history under a military dictator General Pervez Musharraf. The occasion was the triumphant return home of Pakistan's only hope for democracy.
Save Pakistan and to save democracy, because we believe democracy alone can save Pakistan from disintegration and a militant takeover, then we are prepared to risk our lives and we are prepared to risk our liberty. But we are not prepared to surrender our great nation to the militants.
After October 18th, all eyes were on Benazir Bhutto and she went to Dubai. And he did not escape. It was the last meeting and they had to come back.
I traveled from Karachi to Dubai. I wanted to console my children. I couldn't come immediately after the bomb blasts because we had to tend to the wounded and also condole with the families, and I had to pray at my father's grave.
On December 27, 2007, there was a rally in Rawalpindi featuring Benazir Bhutto, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan.
खतरे में है आपको और मुझे इस मुल्क को बचाना पड़ेगा। ये धरती आपको पुकार रही है, मुझे पुकार रही है।
It was a tragic day as she was assassinated during the rally. A survivor is overcome with emotion at the sight of a bomb blast attack on former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto on December 27. Benazir Bhutto died from a bullet wound to the neck after speaking at a rally in the northern city, where an estimated 28 people were left dead by the explosion.